We are now on to the 4th Modern Horizon 3 Commander deck, and this one is the one I'm more excited about. So that's why when it comes to this, I'm doing it last, because I thought I'm going to do a big massive plaster warning of I'm going to be biased. I love eldrazi. Eldrazi is my favorite creature type, even though like they're not always the most powerful or best. I think they are the cutest things on earth. I know I'm weird like that, and I would love to get my hands on every single card that has an eldrazi like on it or in it. Love eldrazi, so I'm going to be very, very biased when it comes to this video. I'm going to try not to be, but I thought I'll give you a warning at the start that eldrazi are the cutest and most adorable creatures that anyone has ever came up with. So if you haven't guessed, in this video we're going to be going over the eldrazi incursion deck, talking about it, talking about the commanders, sub-commanders of the cards in it. You know, you've seen these videos, you love these videos, you want to like and share all these videos and give them to all your friends. See? Seems fair. But before I go any further, a word from our sponsor. The sponsor of this video is me. I have started an Etsy page where I'm going to try and be selling clothes that I've designed, thought would be funny, thought would be cool, thought would be amazing on people's bodies. So I literally spent maybe a month or two looking at different resources and stuff to come up with the nicest clothes I could possibly find, with the coolest designs that I have done myself, with stuff like playmats, hoodies, t-shirts. I'm going to try and do phone cases. They're harder than I thought, but I do think that it is a really good thing to actually put into. So if you would like to help me out or help the channel out, please go onto my Etsy. It will be linked down below, and you'll be able to find very nice clothing and also be supporting the channel. So links down below, and also if there's any other designs, I will be putting on any of my social media, so please follow me there as well. Now that he's gone, we get to talk about all the adorable cards in this deck, starting off with the commander, and the commander of this deck is Ululek Fused Atrocity. For 5 hybrid mana of a colour each or a colourless, you get a legendary creature eldrazi that is a mythic. It has Devoid. Whenever you cast an eldrazi spell, you may pay 2 colourless. If you do, copy all spells you control, then copy all other activated and triggered abilities you control. You may choose new targets for the copies, and is a 2/5. This card, again, really cute. Got a really weird mana cost of 1 of each colour or a colourless. I'm not sure what would be easy to do. However, it is good that if you are missing a colour of mana, you're able to swap it out for just being like, here, here's a Soul Ring for 2 of them. 5 mana for a 2/5 though is where I'm a bit meh. However, this is what I like to call an enchantment commander. It just sits there and be pretty because his ability is bonkers, and this card's ability is absolutely bonkers. You literally play any of the Eldrazi Titans or the amount of Eldrazi now cards that are in this and go, cool, I can get to activate everything on my board for 2 mana again. Like, that is absolutely ridiculous, especially since this has a green pip. You're able to put more ramp in, and the more you ramp, the more craziness you get to do. Literally just search for basic lands, get a bunch of wastes, and just go, I get to activate this for the 5th time this game, this turn. It's not broken at all. Again, I absolutely love this commander. 1, Eldrazi. 2, great ability. 3, Wooburg. Like, this is a perfect card. It is French kiss. Now, with every commander there is a sub-commander, and again, the sub-commander is adorable. It's an Eldrazi. It is cute. The sub-commander is Azlash the Swelling Surge. For 3, you get a legendary creature Eldrazi that is a mythic. Whenever Azlash the Swelling Surge or another colorless creature you control dies, you get an experience counter. For Wooburg, creatures you control get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of experience counters you have. Scions and Spawns you control gain Indestructible Annihilator 1 until end of turn, and it is a 2/2. What are they doing here? This is another Wooburg commander that is just French kiss. Again, 3 mana for a 2/2. It's okay, it's good. Again, get to play your commander turn 3, but whenever a colorless creature dies, that's like the amount of artifacts creatures in this deck is unreal. Plus, since it's Wooburg, play all the Myers that tap for lands or tap for mana. They die. Oh no, what are you going to do? I don't need them for mana anymore. I'm getting experience counters. These just now give +1/+1 for each one of them that died to all my creatures. Oh, I get Scions and like other Eldrazi cute things. you know what, I'm going to tap Wooburg, none of them die, and they have Annihilator 1. This is good for offensive and defensive because again, most of them get to sack for mana, but if someone's like Board Wipe, you're like, Wooburg, I'm going to save on my mana rocks at least. And then later on, when you're further in the game, especially with the new Kozilek that make them 3/3s, you just go, cool, I'm going to play the new Kozilek, attack with this army of mana rocks that are all 3/3s with Annihilator 1 and indestructible for a Wooburg, and that's without even counting all the colorless creatures that died. It doesn't have to be Eldrazi with Devoid, it could be like just colorless artifacts. There's like so many, like Solemn Ciliacrium now helps with that. Such a good card, and most people want it to die anyway. Such a good sub-commander, love it. Would actually love to make a deck with a sub-commander, not gonna lie. But now onto the deck itself, starting off with the Planeswalkers. In this deck there is one Planeswalker, and that Planeswalker is Eugene the Ineffable. Now when it comes to the Planeswalkers, I understand why Eugene's in this. I understand what the point of him being in this deck is. Not gonna lie, would prefer it to be the other one, mainly because it's a way better like option in my opinion, and a way better Planeswalker. However, I know that that's more expensive, so they're probably just putting this one, especially with the Manifest cards. They're kind of just colorless, so I can see why they put it in. I understand why, but I'm not a big fan of it. But now the creatures of this deck. In this deck there's 29 creatures in total, but I'm only going to be going over the majority of them because they're all cute Eldrazi cards. I love Eldrazi so much. But you get creature cards just like Eldrazi Displacer, Mutated Cultist, Vile Redeemer, Bismuth Mindrenderer, Invasion Behemoth, Shifter of Skulls, Angelic Amberition, Deep Fathom Skulker, Drowner of Hope, Endbringer, Oblivion Sower, Sire of Sanctitian, Benthic Anomaly, Hydra's Taskmaster, Morophon the Boundless, Spawnbed Protector, Twins of Discord, Worldbreaker, Elderdeep Fiend, and Ulamog's Dreadsire. We all know what I'm going to say. Some of these cards are really good, some of them are like meh when it comes to the ability, mainly because I'm basing that off the other ones that are, I think the other decks are more powerful. However, because these have more powerful commanders, they've maybe lowered the power of the creatures. But again, some of these are absolutely broken, and I would love to get my hands on majority of these. I do have some of them already because I love Eldrazi, but I do think the creatures are quite good and quite powerful. However, Ulamog's Dreadsire is why is this a thing? I love this card, it is absolutely busted, but like with token doublers and stuff like that, or fling decks, like it's literally like, or cards that when a creature enters battlefield it does damage, and then you get a, when it dies it does damage. This card can just be literally just like the creature itself is just a catapult, and you just keep spawning the 10/10s and flinging the things. I love that card so much. I'm getting my hands on them. Now when it comes to the spells of the deck, there's 13 in total, and here are some on screen now. Eldritch Immunity, Kozilek's Return, Eldrazi Confluence, Return of the Wild Speaker, Selective Obligation, Eugene's Insight, Rishkar's Expertise, and All is Dust. Great cards. Just straight up, the Return of the Wild Speaker is one of those cards when I've noticed when it comes to the commander decks, there's a handful of cards that they're like, if we have the opportunity to throw in, we are throwing them in all the time. Like nearly everyone I know at least has a playset of like majority of them cards, like Swords, Plowshare, Swine, the Curse of Swine, and now Wild Speaker. Not saying they're bad cards, I'm just saying they are, everyone has an abundance of them that I know of. The other cards are rather good to great. All of Dust, Great Board Wipe, and there is a few other instant and sorceries that I'm kind of like, should I get this deck or shouldn't I get this deck? Now we're on to artifacts, and because a lot of these cards cost a lot, there is a fair few mana rocks. When it comes to this, there is 14 artifacts in total, but 9 of them are the mana rocks, because again, you need a lot of ramp in this deck. But you get other artifacts like Mystic Forge, Eldrazi Monument, Forsaken Monument. Again, these are kind of just like very good cards, but they're like the generic, like if someone just went up to me and went, what would you put in this deck? These were cards that would probably be one of the first thoughts in my head. I like it when they put cards in that you're like, ooh, that's actually good to get, like it work. I can see how they're, ooh, but with this, I'm like, yeah, perfect, makes sense. So no, not complaining, not like overexcited. It's just the perfect, like, yeah, it's a good card for that. Now we're going on to enchantments. When it comes to enchantments, there is 4 in total, but only 3 I want to mention, and they are Awakening Zone, Imprison in the Moon, and Eldrazi Conscription. Not the biggest or best card. I do find it funny that in the Eldrazi deck they put Imprison in the Moon to kind of be like, ha ha ha, get it. But the other ones are just generically like good or okay. There is I think it's an enchantment that if you play a creature that's like 7 or more, it might be the Eldrazi Conscription I'm thinking of. I don't have an image of it, but whenever you play an Eldrazi that's 7 or more, you get to draw 2 cards. That would have been better in here, in my personal opinion. But again, I didn't make the deck. But let me know what cards you would put in. But now finally we are on to the lands in this deck. There's 38 lands in total, and they are Bondor's Enclave, Cascading Catacombs, Corrupted Crossroads, Eldrazi Temple, Ruins of Oran Reef, Shrine of the Forsaken Gods, and Tempo Icebridge. With how many like ramp cards and stuff you need in this deck, the lands are a good bit weaker than I thought. I knew they were going to put in like the color stuff. I wish they put in the land that doesn't tap for anything unless you tap for 2. It's like Ujin's Insight or something like that. Let me know in the comments down below what that land is. But I do really like this deck overall. The lands, in my opinion, and the enchantments are the weakest point. However, they are, in my opinion, the strongest commander, the strongest sub-commander out of all the decks that are currently out. Let me know if you have a different opinion, but that's just me. But again, it could also be my love for Eldrazi. This is, out of all of them, I think this one and the land one are only worth the like deluxe edition if you're into them decks and have the spare income. The other 2 are just, if you want to get them, get the normal version. I find the concept of here's the overpriced deck where it's all the pretty version in a good idea, but I don't think it's worth it price-wise or the way they build the deck, because they try and have to make it that the deck is worth it in the normal set, but also worth it with they have to be the same cards in both the decks. I do find that is a very difficult thing to do, because most people, if they are making it prettier and making it worth 300 quid, people are going to just buy the normal one and sell the normal cards because it's going to be worth more. So making a difference where it's in both decks, but the price difference between the 2 is worth it, is a very difficult, and this is their first time trying it, so I'm not being like, no, bad. But I do think they did quite good for their first time. Now that all the videos are done, I'm going to do a little quick thing of, out of all 4 decks, the Eldrazi one is my favorite, then the land one, then the energy one, and then I've completely forgotten the first one I did. Oh yeah, it's the weird lacquer groff things. Yeah, that's just personally me. Let me know what your favorite in the 4 decks are in order in the comments down below. While you're there, remember to like and subscribe and comment and all of that. And again, as always, if you like this video, I have the previous video, I have the 3rd Modern Horizons deck here, a playlist here, and a subscribe button here, and I will see you all in the next video.